Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to discuss all the books that I read in February. Sorry this is a little bit late. I typically want to post these like the last day of the month or the first day of the next month, but I just got really busy with school and couldn't get it up. So better late than never. I had a decent reading month. I had a new 5-star read, so that's really exciting. So let's just get into it. The first book that I read was Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. It's the first book in the Magnolia Parks series universe, and this book follows Magnolia and BJ. It's like Gossip Girl set in London. They're really rich. There's a lot of toxicity within the friend group. And basically Magnolia and BJ, they dated for a long time, but now they're not, and you don't really know what happened. Just a lot of back and forth in between them. But I really liked it. It was super entertaining, like so much drama. I just couldn't stop reading it. I was like, oh my god, like I cannot believe like they just did that or that just happened. So I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars and I'm excited to read their next book. Then I read Before the Coffee Gets Cold, Tales from the Cafe. So it's like the second book in the Before the Coffee Gets Cold kind of series, which I do own, but it's at school and I'm not there right now, unfortunately. But I gave this 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it because I really liked the first one and it's very similar. It's basically the same premise as the first one. There's this cafe in Tokyo that is notorious for being able to send customers back in time. And there's all these different rules that go with it. But the main one, you have to come back before the coffee gets cold. Otherwise, you'll be stuck there. And this one, it just follows 4 new characters who want to go back in time for whatever reason. And then you also see the same staff from the first book, which I really like because I really like those characters and you kind of learn more about them and their story. So that was cool. And I just really like the writing. It's very much like a play. I can picture it really well in my head, which I really like. They're kind of comforting because they're a little bit repetitive, but I don't mind it for some reason. Next, we're getting into the books that I read I did a video about reading viral BookTok books. And so the first one I did was Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. And I didn't love this. I gave it 3 stars. If you watch that, I go more in depth, but I listened to it as an audiobook, which I shouldn't have done. The premise of the story is you have Bree and Archer, and Bree moves away from her hometown and like some trauma in her past life to this small town where Archer is from. And Archer doesn't talk, like he's been through something, and so he doesn't speak. He's kind of like an outcast in their community, and it's just their romance. But listening to the audiobook was kind of weird because he wasn't actually like speaking in the book, so like to hear the words be spoken, it just wasn't right, you know, so I shouldn't have done that. But more than that, even if I would have read a physical copy, I still don't think my rating would be any higher because I just didn't feel a lot for the characters. I just didn't think they were very developed. Yeah, they just felt kind of shallow to me. I didn't really care that much about either of them, but it wasn't bad by any means, so give it a 3 star. Like, it was fine. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. Then I read The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. I went back and forth between listening to this and reading it on my Kindle. And it's a mystery. Basically, main character's husband disappears and just leaves behind a note that says, "Protect her." Very cryptic. And that refers to his daughter. So the daughter and her, who is like her stepmom, they have to try to piece together what happened, where he's gone, because they don't know anything. He just kind of up and left, disappeared. And I really liked this. It was just a good mystery. Like, it kept me on my toes. And something else I really liked about it was that the chapters like had actual names, like with words, not just like chapter 14. Like it was like kind of a description almost of what was going to happen. And I really like that. I feel like books don't do that anymore. And like when I was younger, book chapters would have like their own title. I don't know, it's just like a little touch that I really liked. But yeah, did I say I gave this 4 stars, so I really enjoyed it. Then I listened to the audiobook of The Bodyguard by Catherine Senner, and I really liked this as well. I've been not very into romance books lately, like they're just not hitting for me anymore. I don't know, I think I've just gotten like burned out on them, where so many of them, they're just so similar and I just don't end up caring about the characters at all. But this one, I found really entertaining. Usually when there's like a bodyguard romance, it's the guy who's the bodyguard for the girl, but in this one, she's the bodyguard for him. He's, I believe, a very famous actor, and she becomes his bodyguard and she has to basically go protect him while he is home at his family's ranch, but he doesn't want to tell his family that he needs protecting, so he makes it seem like she is just his girlfriend. And so there's fake dating. Yeah, it was really good. I really liked the fake dating, and I really liked how she was the bodyguard, because that's just not what you see, so it was like kind of unique to read about, and just reading about her job I thought was really interesting. It's not like necessarily the big like burly guy that's guarding. It's like you have to be aware of the surroundings and like think ahead of like what people are gonna do, and yeah, that part was really interesting. Yeah, I gave this 4 stars. I really liked it, but at the end I did feel like there was some unnecessary conflict, like before this one really big conflict. It just didn't feel necessary to me. I feel like we could have left certain stuff out. Like it was just thrown in there for kind of no reason. But like up until that point, I was like, I really, really like this. And then something happened. I was like, I feel like I'm going to put my rating down to a 3.5. But then something else happened. And I was like, okay, I get it. Like, I'm okay with this now. And it went back up to a 4 star. So I would definitely recommend this book. Then I read Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett, and I loved this so much. I gave it 5 stars. One of my new favorite books, definitely my favorite book of the month. It's about a professor named Emily who goes to this little village to study the Fae there, and stays in this rickety little cabin, and like it's very windy and cold and snowy there, so you get like very cozy vibes in the cabin. Her academic rival, but like they're really not rivals, from I think Cambridge, he also comes, and so then they kind of have to start working together, and it was just so good. Like I just wanted to keep reading this. I didn't want to deal with any of my responsibilities. Nothing else really mattered except for what was going on in this book. It was just so cozy. I loved fairies when I was little. I was very into that, and so this just felt like really nostalgic and like magical, and I loved it so much. And there's gonna be a second book, which I am so excited about because I love this one so much that I just know I'm gonna love the second one. And this author also recently came out with a fantasy retelling of Anne of Green Gables. I need to read that immediately. That sounds right up my alley. So yeah, I would highly, highly, highly recommend this. Literally, you need to read this right now. And then the last book that I read was Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. And I never heard anything about this, but I was looking through what audiobooks were available, and this was one of them, and I was like, that sounds interesting. And it had like the Reese's Book Club on it. I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. The main character is waiting up for her son to come home because he's late, like he was supposed to be home. And she's looking out the window and she sees him, and then she sees him kill a man she's never seen before, and she sees her son literally murder him, and she's like, what? And she goes down there, they call for help, the police come, her son gets like taken away, and then she wakes up the next day, except it's not the next day, it's the day before the murder happened. And this keeps happening. She keeps going back in time until she can kind of piece together what happened and what led her son to kill this man that she has never seen before, because it's so out of character. I mean, obviously. I rated it 3.5 stars. I did really like it, but something about it, like, it just kind of left me wanting a little bit more from it. Like, I feel like there could have been something else. I don't know how to explain it. I did like it, but it didn't fully like satisfy my questions. But I did really like it. It wasn't good enough to be a 4 star. And I find it hard to rate thrillers 5 star. So it's sitting at a 3.5. I did like it. If you're looking for a good mystery, I would recommend it. I thought it was good. So those are all of the books that I read in February. I hope you enjoyed. Leave me a comment and tell me what was your favorite book that you read in February. I would love to know. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.